Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I rise in firm support of this motion and in particular of Operative Clause 2, training 50,000 Mauritians in practical AI training. Sustained beyond its first year and embedded in our national curriculum. I speak as the Junior Minister of Tourism because there is no sector that stands to gain more from getting AI skills training right or from losing it than getting it wrong than the sector that employs tens of thousands of young Mauritians. And tourism is exposed. The roles most easily automated in hospitality, it's concierge, back office, reservation, check-in. These roles are essential for our youngsters who want to come into this sector. A recent PwC Middle East survey found nearly 3 in 4 Gulf hospitality operators now have dedicated AI budgets, yet almost as many admit they lack staff who can actually use those tools. If that skills gap exists in those developed countries, this house should assume that in Mauritius also we are having this problem. But Honorable Speaker, I do not rise only to warn. Mauritius was ranked 3rd in the sub-Saharan Africa on Oxford Insight Government AI Readiness. We are not starting from zero. What we lack is a training pipeline that truly emphasizes on the front lines, not the broad room. A front desk officer who can read AI-generated guest insights. A guest house owner who can use AI as a marketing team of one. This is the skilled national workforce this motion asks us to build. From the tourism portfolio, there are 3 concrete steps. First, name the Ministry of Tourism and the Mauritius Institute of Training and Development formal partners in the National AI Learning Platform. And as we have already said, it is very important to emphasize on the AI hospitality. AI for hospitality track, as Dubai's own tourism authority has already done for its workforce. Second, under Clause 1's workfare program, reskilling pathways name reservation, concierge, and frontline categories for redirecting into higher value AI augmented work. Third, report tourism sector training numbers annually and separately, just as Clause 5 already tracks water sector progress against a 5-year trajectory. So this House can hold government to what it has promised. To wrap up, Madam Deputy Speaker, tourism built modern Mauritius on the strength of our people's welcome. AI will not replace this welcome. C'est clair que l'intelligence artificielle ne peut jamais remplacer cet accueil que nous, les Mauriciens, offrons aux visiteurs. But only if we train for it, deliberately and without delay. I urge this House to support Operative Clause 2 and give our tourism workforce every reason to be wire visitor choosers Mauritius over every other island that has one. I thank this House.
Minister of Tourism.
Madam Deputy Speaker, artificial intelligence has become one of the most significant technological developments of the 21st century, and without a doubt is the buzzword of today. It is no secret that nowadays AI is leading the world, whether in education, healthcare, agriculture, and even in sport. As we have just witnessed, a robot has broken the world record of Usain Bolt on a 100-meter race. As the Minister of Tourism, I am convinced that AI can create substantial opportunities for our tourism industry. AI can be used to analyze traveler preferences and help tourism businesses offer personalized recommendations for accommodation, attraction, restaurant, and activities. Chatbots and virtual assistants can provide visitors with information around the clock and in multiple languages. Booking.com, Uber, Deliveroo are all the examples where AI have been successfully implemented. Hotels, airlines, travel companies can use AI to focus demand, optimize pricing, manage resources, and improve customer service. AI will also allow government to analyze visitor data, understand tourism trends, and improve destination management. For countries like Mauritius, where tourism sector contributes directly or indirectly about 20% of the GDP, AI can therefore become an important instrument for improving competitiveness, productivity, and of course, visitors' experience. In 2025, Mauritius welcomed 1.4 million tourists, signifying an increase of 3.9% from 2024. And according to recent tourism statistics, Mauritius welcomed around 871,000 visitors from January to mid-August of 2026, representing a very good 2.2% increase compared to the same period in 2025. Therefore, AI is rapidly transforming the tourism industry worldwide, creating new opportunities not only for established companies, but also for young entrepreneurs. Youth AI entrepreneurship can become a powerful engine for innovation, employment, and economic diversification. Young entrepreneurs are well positioned to take advantage of AI, as they are often more familiar with digital technology, social media, mobile application, and online business models. By combining these skills, young people can develop innovative solutions that may improve visitors' experience, that create new tourism products and services. However, Madam Deputy Speaker, innovation requires access to finance and experience, which young people unfortunately may lack to transform their ideas into reality. To address this problem, the government has taken the commitment as announced in the budget 2026-2027 to train and equip 50,000 merchants in AI and establish a dedicated youth AI innovation window to reserve funding, incubation support, and mentorship for AI-focused ventures led by merchants under the age of 30. Madam Deputy Speaker, we are also aware that AI cannot replace human. We must protect our identity, our culture, and most importantly, our hospitality, the bonjour, bienvenue à l'île Maurice, and most importantly, our smile, which since today has remained legendary. La technologie doit être au service des êtres humains et non l'inverse. To conclude, Madam Deputy Speaker, the goal is not to build a tourism industry where technology replaces people. The goal is to build one where technology empowers our youth by providing them with required skills. The future merchant is not man versus machine. It is merchant using technology to innovate and succeed. Madam Deputy Speaker, we cannot miss this train. Thank you.
MP Mango.
Madam Deputy Speaker, the government tells us in clause 2 that it wants to train and equip 50,000 merchants in AI and embed AI within our national curriculum. Wonderful, very modern, very ambitious, very 2026. There is only one small problem, Madam Deputy Speaker. How exactly are we doing it? Because ambition without implementation is not a policy. It is a PowerPoint presentation. Let us first recognize something very important. Mauritius has already started moving towards artificial intelligence. Yes, as the minister has mentioned earlier about training 50,000 merchants, about the National AI Strategy 2025-2029, very good. But the question is, are we actually ready to embed it into our national curriculum equitably, effectively, and responsibly? Madam Deputy Speaker, allow me to point out a rather interesting contradiction. In 2026, the Ministry of Education introduced new regulations controlling the use of personal mobile devices in our primary and secondary schools. And why? because we are concerned about distraction, of course, discipline, concentration, student well-being. Because, well, fair enough. But now, almost in the same breath, we are being told, let us embed AI into the national curriculum. Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, with what? Yesterday, the smartphone was the problem. And today, AI is the solution. At this rate, by next term, perhaps, I don't know, ChatGPT will be appointed deputy rector. Seriously, this exposes the weakness in clause 2. If students' personal devices are being restricted, then government must tell us what infrastructure will replace them. Will every school have enough computers? Will every student have equal access? Will the internet connection be reliable enough? Who pays for licenses and subscriptions? What happens when an AI platform goes down in the middle of a lesson? And most importantly, how will personal data be protected? What about deepfakes? What about misinformation or blames? As many of us know, people often say AI, sir. And also the government's own policy direction recognizes this problem. Mauritius launched its national AI strategy and its FAIR guidelines precisely because AI must be fair, accountable, inclusive, and responsible. So why does clause 2 tell us to embed AI into the curriculum without defining what responsible AI education actually looks like? Madam Deputy Speaker, there is another phrase in this clause which sounds very good. Rural and underserved schools prioritized. I agree with the intention. Intention counts. But let us not confuse priority on paper with equality in practice. AI education requires infrastructure, devices, connectivity, trained educators, technical support, and it requires equal opportunities between a student sitting in a well-equipped institution and another student in a school where digital resources may be more limited.
Member, please proceed with your conclusion.
So, Madam Deputy Speaker, we want Mauritius to embrace AI. We want our students to understand it. We want Mauritian workers to be prepared for the jobs for tomorrow. But of course, there are so many questions. But to wrap up, our position is simple. Yes to AI education, but no to inserting AI into the curriculum simply because AI happens to be the most fashionable word of the year. And no to promising equal access before demonstrating that the infrastructure for equal access actually exists. And until clause 2 provides a credible pathway to achieve that, rather than simply another ambitious target, this House should demand better. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Minister of Industry, SME and Cooperative.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I rise today in unequivocal support of empowering young Mauritians to become entrepreneurs and innovators in artificial intelligence. The question is not simply whether our youth will use AI. It is whether we will empower them to create with it, innovate through it, and build enterprises around it. Madam Deputy Speaker, the opportunity is substantial. In 2025, Mauritius's ICT sector generated 36.3 billion rupees in value added, representing 5.7% of gross value added. Digital innovation is no longer peripheral to our economy. It is becoming one of its engines. But behind every statistic is a much simpler question. Imagine a young Mauritian developing an AI solution capable of helping an SME anticipating demand, reduce waste, or compete internationally. The innovation exists, the ambition exists, the potential exists. But what happens when the funding does not? Madame la Vice-Présidente, sans opportunité, même la plus brillante des idées ne restera qu'une idée. Without early financing, incubation, and mentorship, an idea capable of generating employment and economic value may never leave the drawing board. And funding alone is not enough. Money may finance a prototype, but it cannot substitute experience. Young innovators require mentors who can help them develop viable business models, protect their innovations, and ultimately bring their solutions to market. Yet, Madam Deputy Speaker, there is another barrier we must dismantle. Opportunity must not depend upon privilege. Imagine possessing the idea that could become Mauritius's next successful AI enterprise, only to be excluded because you lack capital, influential networks, or even a conventional academic background. Madam Deputy Speaker, innovation does not begin with a university identification card. Whether university educated or self-taught, what should determine opportunity is the potential of the idea, not the circumference of the innovator. Of course, some may ask, why should public resources support AI startups when investment in emerging enterprises inevitably carry an element of risk? Madam Deputy Speaker, I respectfully submit that the greater risk is failing to invest in our own innovators at all. But investment must not mean indiscriminate expenditure. Support should remain competitive, transparent, and milestone-based, ensuring that continued assistance follows genuine progress. As Minister responsible for industry and SMEs, I believe our objective cannot merely be to teach young Mauritians how to use tomorrow's technologies. We must enable them to build tomorrow's enterprises. To conclude, Madam Deputy Speaker, Mauritius may be a small island developing state. We may never compete with the world's largest economies in scale. However, we can compete in ingenuity. Our ambition must therefore extend beyond creating a generation capable of consuming the technologies developed elsewhere.
Member, please pause. Member, you have.
Ms. Deputy Speaker, the member is reading her speech, not reading extract.
Can you rephrase your point of order, please?
Section 39, clause 9.
Point of order dismissed. You may resume.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Our ambition must therefore extend beyond creating a generation capable of consuming the technologies developed elsewhere. We must create an environment in which young Mauritians can develop, own, and commercialize innovation themselves. Let us ensure that when the story of artificial intelligence revolution is written, our Mauritian youth are not remembered as merely its consumers, but as its innovators, entrepreneurs, and architects. I thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Minister of Information, Technology, Communications and Innovation.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I rise today in support of the motion, and I want to begin with a concession rather than a congratulation. Madam Deputy Speaker, Mauritius was slow on cybersecurity, and that is not the assessment of your position. It has been acknowledged publicly by this ministry. Madam Deputy Speaker, a house that cannot name its own weaknesses cannot credibly claim its strengths. And let me say what has changed. It also further appears to be that members of the opposition are not up to date with recent happenings. Let me help them recall that. On the 1st of June this year, the Cybersecurity and Cybercrime Critical Information Infrastructure Designation Regulations 2026 came into operation. They identify 5 key sectors within which our critical information infrastructures may be designated. And I will invite members to know the 4th of those sectors: energy and water supply.
Please pause.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Just wanted to address a breach of the PO in the sense that the Member of Parliament is attacking the how do we call this? The opposition, and they should remove that statement. It's a personal attack towards the opposition.
Thank you, Member. Member, please refrain from imputing motive. Resume, please.
All right, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I will further invite members today to note the fourth of those sectors, energy and water supply. Madam Deputy Speaker, clause 5 of this resolution to ask that artificial intelligence be built into our water network. But notice what the law is telling us. The sector we are about to fill with new systems is the same sector these regulations name as critical national infrastructure. And consider what else we have built, Madam Deputy Speaker. COREC now serves more than 500,000 citizens on a single platform. 500,000. And Madam Deputy Speaker, that is not only an achievement, it is a dependency. I will further add that every sensor we install, every meter we deploy, and every system we connect is not only an efficiency, each one is also a door. We are not choosing whether to digitalize, that is settled. Today, Madam Deputy Speaker, we are choosing whether we secure what we build as we build it, or wait until somebody shows us the why. Now, I do anticipate the question from this House, and it is a fair one. If these regulations already do exist, why does clause 4 ask for an artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and residence framework? Because it is not the same thing. The regulations protect infrastructure. They designate systems, impose obligations, and set a 12-month compliance deadline, and that clock is already running. Madam Deputy Speaker, these regulations were not written for systems that learn, though. An AI system fails differently. It can be corrupted through the data it is trained on. It can degrade quietly over months, while every server it runs on remains perfectly secure. And you cannot audit that once and file the certificate. That is why clause 4 asked for risk assessment, security testing, and continuous monitoring. Continuous, Madam Deputy Speaker. This is not our invention. This is the discipline set out in the NIST, Artificial Intelligence Risk Management Framework, which this Parliament was asked to study. Madam Deputy Speaker, we are also a small island developing state. We cannot absorb the failure of a national system the way a larger economy can. We have no second grid.
Member, please proceed with your conclusion.
Yes, Madam Deputy Speaker. No second water authority and no second financial center. And Madam Deputy Speaker, to conclude, let me say that this is not an argument for caution. It is an argument for competence. We were further asked what we should keep, what we should improve, and what we would introduce. Clause 4 is my answer, Madam Deputy Speaker. Keep the regulations, improve them with systems that learn, and introduce continuous monitoring before we need it, not after. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I commend the motion to the House.
Members, you are reminded that you need to bow to the chair before going outside. Furthermore, you just had lunch and it is disrespectful to be going outside after just having lunch. Please refrain and please stay seated. Thank you. We will now move to MP Ramnareng.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. AI is here and it is here to stay. There is no denying the potential AI holds for Mauritius, and this resolution rightly seeks to harness it. But this resolution is spoken of as though ambition alone were enough. And while it is commendable, it does not by itself constitute good policy. Madam Deputy Speaker, the preamble identifies 33,300 unemployed Mauritians and a structural mismatch between the skills held by job seekers and those demanded by employers. Yet, when we turn to the operative clauses, that diagnosis is not matched by a clear link between the training proposed and the skills mismatch identified. Clause 2 responds with a commitment to train or equip 50,000 Mauritians in AI over the coming year. The budget breaks those 50,000 into 4 distinct groups, each serving different purposes and consequently requiring different measures of success. 50,000 trained demonstrates reach, but not relevance. Without evidence that the training is aligned with labor market needs, the target measures participation, not whether the skills mismatch is being resolved. Clause 3 calls for yet another dedicated youth AI innovation window. What specific gap in the current architecture requires its creation? Government's 2026-2027 budget already allocates 25 million to a national AI learning platform, which includes an AI innovation startup program aimed at supporting youth entrepreneurship. While the recently launched AI Innovation Lab STEM Center promotes practical learning, experimentation, and innovation. If the existing AI startup program already supports youth entrepreneurship, what distinct function does this new window serve that cannot be delivered through the existing framework? This risks duplicating initiatives around the same objective without a clear division of responsibility or a clear basis for measuring results. Strengthening the current AI Innovation Startup Program with targeted funding, incubation, and mentorship for young Mauritian innovators would bridge the gap between existing support and the specific needs of young AI entrepreneurs without fragmenting resources across another program. And finally, Madame Deputy Speaker, sir, la cerise sur le gâteau, clause 5. Allow me to quote from the resolution itself. It calls for the relevant authority to integrate state-of-the-art technologies and AI-powered solutions in new, upgraded, and renewed networks. At what scale? What technology? What criteria determines whether a solution is state-of-the-art? And most importantly, what measurable contribution is that technology expected to make towards that 50% target? The clause does not say. The omission becomes even more striking when we consider what already exists. The budget has already established a non-revenue water trajectory, and the public sector investment program already provides 10 million rupees in 2026-2027 for a smart water management program in the East. Madam Deputy Speaker, clause 5 gives this chamber the outcome it wants, but leaves the means for delivering it conspicuously undefined. Furthermore, the NAO reports approximately 1,500 kilometers of very old pipelines, of which around 500 kilometers have been identified as critical and requiring urgent replacement. So where is the connection between the technological intervention proposed here and the physical infrastructure responsible for those losses? Moving from that recommendation to integrating advanced technologies across upgraded and renewed networks requires planning, technical capacity, infrastructure readiness, and financing. A better approach would be to strengthen the existing smart water management program, prioritize the networks experiencing the greatest losses, integrate appropriate AI and digital monitoring with the physical rehabilitation of those networks, measure the water actually being recovered, and scale the interventions that demonstrate results. Madam Deputy Speaker, if SDG 9 is what we're hoping to achieve, then we must have the discipline to distinguish between what sounds progressive and what's genuinely capable of delivering progress.
Member, please conclude.
Yes, Mauritius cannot afford innovation for innovation's sake. Madam Deputy Speaker, I would have loved to flatter this masterpiece of a resolution, but quite frankly, that would not be possible. Thank you.
Minister of Public Services and Administrative Reforms. Is the minister present? Minister of Labour and Minister of Labour and Industrial Relations.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, unlike what the opposition would have us believe, we cannot hold back artificial intelligence. It is already changing the world of work, and Mauritius must be ready. Madam Deputy Speaker, the numbers speak for themselves. In 2025, our ICT sector contributed 36.25 billion rupees to our economy. And globally, the World Economic Forum estimates that by 2030, 170 million jobs could be created, while 92 million could be displaced. Madam Deputy Speaker, I recognize concerns about employment and job security, but these concerns cannot become an argument for standing still. Mauritius cannot afford to watch the world transform while we remain on the sidelines. As a small island developing state, we compete for our people, our skills, our innovation, and our ability to adapt. That is why this government supports this motion without hesitation. We want Mauritius to become a regional hub for AI and digital innovation. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, we will not build the digital Mauritius of tomorrow by leaving the workers of today behind. And that is precisely where my ministry has a responsibility. If AI transforms the labor market, our workforce must be transformed alongside it. Hence, this government proposes to strengthen the welfare program under Part 7 of the Workers' Rights Act 2019. When a worker is displaced because of technological change, we must record it. Mauritius must build its own evidence of technology-driven displacement. Moreover, through the HRDC, we will identify the occupations and sectors most exposed to automation. Reskilling must begin before displacement, Madam Deputy Speaker. Last but not least, training must lead to opportunity. Our reskilling pathways must connect with existing AI incentives, directing workers towards skills actually demanded by our economy. Madam Deputy Speaker, let us be absolutely clear. This government is not here to put the brakes on AI. We are here to put Mauritius at the forefront of it. Because the answer to the disruption caused by technology is not to resist technology. It is to prepare our people to master it. Madame la vice-présidente, derrière chaque transformation économique, il y a des personnes. Il y a le travailleur qui construit sa vie autour de son métier, la famille qui dépend de son salaire et notre jeunesse qui entre aujourd'hui dans un monde du travail très différent de celui que nous connaissons. Et c'est là que notre responsabilité commence. Nous ne pouvons pas promettre à chaque travailleur que son métier restera exactement le même, mais nous pouvons lui promettre qu'il ne sera pas laissé seul face au changement. Notre devoir est de donner à chacun les moyens de s'adapter, d'apprendre et d'avancer. Parce qu'une nouvelle compétence, ce n'est pas simplement une formation, c'est une nouvelle possibilité. Une possibilité de rester compétitif, de progresser et de construire une vie meilleure. Voilà pourquoi nous devons avoir le courage de conduire cette transformation. Pas avec naïveté ou avec peur, mais avec ambition. Nous voulons une Maurice qui innove, qui attire les talents et qui donne à sa jeunesse les moyens de créer. Une Maurice où la technologie ne profite pas uniquement à ceux qui la développent, mais aussi à ceux qui travaillent avec elle et construisent notre économie. Madame la vice-présidente, nous ne devons pas avoir peur du changement. Nous devons être prêts à le diriger. Certes, l'intelligence artificielle transforme déjà notre monde, mais les travailleurs mauriciens sont et resteront les architectes de notre avenir. Merci, Madame la vice-présidente.
Minister of Public Services and Administrative Reforms. Minister of Energy and Public Utilities.
Madam Deputy Speaker, sir, thank you for giving me the floor to intervene on this important motion.
Member, please pose.
Thank you, Madam the Speaker. So actually the name Jabu is the other minister seated there, not the Minister of Public Services.
All right.
There are two Jabus.
Member, please refrain from laughing. You are in the House. Please resume.
Madam Deputy Speaker, sir, thank you for giving me the floor to intervene on this important motion. I wish to focus my intervention on Clause 5, the use of AI to strengthen our water networks. Madam Deputy Speaker, water is life, yet 6 liters of water out of every 10 that this country collects, treats, and pumps do not reach our tap. They are lost underground in pipes that were laid when our grandparents were young. That is the single largest inefficiency in the Mauritian economy. And Madam Deputy Speaker, sir, this government is the first to have measured it properly and put a date on ending it. Let the House be clear about what is already underway. After some 30 years of drafting and delay, it is our government that brought the Water Resources Act into force and finally gave the water sector its due. It is our government that has committed 6.4 billion rupees over 3 years to our water system and that secured funding from India to renew 114 kilometers of our worst pipes. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, sir, since July of this year, any citizen can photograph a leak and upload it on the correct application, and AI grades it severity so that our crews are sent to the most serious league first. But why AI? Why AI, Madam Deputy Speakers, and not simply more pipes? Because we cannot dig the whole network at once and replace everything. It is impossible and way too costly. So we need to know where to dig first. And this is where AI comes into play. And so, Madam Deputy Speaker, under Clause 5, this government will do 3 things. First, we measure. We cannot always say how much water goes into a village and how much comes out the other end. We will fit meters and sensors across the network so that we can see where our water is actually going. That work is already financed. Second, we try to find the leak. AI will watch the water flow across the network and raise the alarm, then narrow it down to the specific street. So we dig where the leak actually is and not where we guess it might be. My ministry is already working with Indian and Singaporean experts on exactly this. Third, we tell the public every 3 months, this house and every citizen will see the figure for their own region. And if we fall behind, everybody will know. Madam Deputy Speaker, sir, we cannot make the rain fall, but we can stop losing what falls. Mauritius has always been a small island, yet it has never been a small nation. We built a country out of sugarcane and the sweat of our grandparents. We can certainly build one that does not throw away 6 liters of water in every 10. Let us be grateful for the rain we are given. I commend the motion to the House. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
MP Biari.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, 50,000 Mauritians. It is a powerful number.
Please pose.
MP Jabu, the Minister of Land Transport, has still not been called despite having been noted as the 13th orator.
Yes, member, it is my prerogative to choose which one goes first. Please resume. MP Biari, please resume.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. 50,000 Mauritians. It is a powerful number. But today, I do not want this House to see 50,000. I want us to see one 14-year-old student sitting in a Mauritian classroom wondering whether he will become an engineer, a doctor, an entrepreneur, or an artist. By the time that child enters the workforce, artificial intelligence may have transformed every one of those professions. The decision we take today will determine whether that child enters the future prepared or not. That is why Clause 2 matters. And Madam Deputy Speaker, I quote directly from the resolution: train or equipped 50,000 Mauritians in AI. But I ask government, trained to what level? Equipped with what capability? Because government can train 50,000 people and still fail 50,000 people if it cannot tell us what they are actually capable of doing afterwards. The ambition might be right, but the architecture is incomplete. So allow me to propose 3 refinements. First, a national AI competency passport. Certify participants at 3 levels: AI literacy, workplace application, and advanced technical capability. A hotel employee does not need the same training.
Please pose.
Sorry, Speaker, but I have to address this. This is a breach of the POO. The Deputy Prime Minister and the Prime Minister are cross-talking while our Member of Parliament is giving his speech, which is a breach of Section 40.
I will reserve my ruling regarding that. Please resume.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. A hotel employee does not need the same training as a software engineer. A teacher does not need the same training as a cybersecurity specialist. After 1 year, Do not simply return to this house and say, 50,000 people trained, mission accomplished. Tell us what they can do. Tell us what capability Mauritians gain. Second, an AI curriculum ladder. At primary level, teach children what AI is and how to use it safely. At secondary level, teach them to question and verify what AI produces. And at advanced level, teach coding, machine learning, and real-world applications. AI may assist a student's work, but it must never replace a student's thinking. Imagine a child submitting a perfect written essay, but he cannot define a single statement or the correct mathematical answer without understanding a single step. The machine has passed the examination. It has the child, Madam Deputy Speaker. Third, a digital equity gate. The government promises priority to rural and underserved schools, but prioritize what? The technology or the infrastructure required to actually use it? Before rollout, assess 4 things: connectivity, equipment, teacher readiness, and student access. Where the capacity is missing, investment comes first, and eventually implementation follows. Madam Deputy Speaker, I want Mauritius to enter the age of artificial intelligence. So let us correct clause 2. Competency, not attendance. Progression, not dependence. Equal capacity,
Member,
not
please
equally.
conclude.
Sure, not equally merely on paper. Madam Deputy Speaker, I believe in the Mauritian mind. Mauritius needs not to remain a consumer to the world's artificial intelligence. We can become a creator, an innovator, an AI powerhouse from the Indian Ocean. So let the world not ask what artificial intelligence will do to Mauritius. Let the world watch what Mauritius will do with artificial intelligence. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Members, I will be dismissing the previous point of order. Everyone was cross-talking as long as it does not disturb the House. Thank you. Minister of Public Services and Administrative Reform.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I think that there is a small issue in the papers. I am the Minister of Public Services and Administrative Reform, and I have already intervened. It is my brother, Mr. Jabu Divyanshu, the Minister of Land Transport, who needs to intervene. Thank you.
Member, we will take a 2-minute pause. Please refrain from cross-talking. Member, please, I am chairing. You have to respect the chair. I said you can cross-talk as long as it does not disturb the House. We will resume with Minister of Land and Transport.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, I took note of the opposition's concern that government has ideas about cybersecurity, but is moving in the wrong direction. I respectfully disagree. Cybersecurity is not about choosing between ambition and protection. The direction we are taking is to build both together and to make that protection stronger as our technology evolves. I will now proceed with my debate. Madam Deputy Speaker, what happens when the intelligence we create becomes smarter than the security we have built around it? That is the question Mauritius must ask as we enter an AI-powered future. I rise in support of this motion because artificial intelligence presents our country with an extraordinary opportunity. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, we cannot build a smarter Mauritius at the cost of a more vulnerable Mauritius. Our ICT sector contributed approximately 36 billion rupees to our economy in 2025, representing 5.7% of gross value added. Mauritius also has approximately 181 internet subscriptions for every 100 inhabitants. Digitalization is no longer something happening around us. It is something happening to all of us. And as AI enters our economy and public services, we must ask, are we prepared to protect what we build? Madam Deputy Speaker, AI analyzes data, identifies patterns, and produces predictions and recommendations. If that data or system is compromised, the consequences extend beyond a computer screen. They can affect businesses, public services, and ultimately our people. That is why cybersecurity cannot be an afterthought. We need risk assessments before deployment, regular security testing, continuous monitoring, and clear mechanisms to respond when something goes wrong. Because resilience is not believing that nothing will go wrong. Resilience is being ready when it does. Some may argue that stronger safeguards could slow innovation. I respectfully disagree. It is easy to criticize ambition. It is much harder to take responsibility for turning ambition into reality. Our responsibility is not to choose between innovation and security. Our responsibility is to demand both. Because what is the value of a digital service that people are afraid to use? Trust is not a side effect of digitalization. Trust is the foundation of it. Madam Deputy Speaker, I speak not only as a minister, but as a young Mauritian. We are constantly told that we are the future of this country, but we are not waiting for the future to arrive. We are already building it. And as we build that future, I recall the words of our national anthem. Around thee we gather as one people, as one nation. We must recall those words not only when we sing our anthem, but when we make decisions for our country. If we are truly one people, one nation, then the Mauritius we build with technology must serve all of us.
Member, please conclude.
We are not here merely to watch the future being decided for us. We are here because we intend to shape it. Madam Deputy Speaker, Mauritius may be small in size, but we have never allowed our size to define our ambition. So I call upon this House, let us embrace AI. Let us secure it, let us make it resilient, and let us make it work for our people. Let us not measure our success by how quickly we adopt AI. Let us measure it by whether we have the courage to get it right. The decisions we make today will shape the country my generation will inherit tomorrow. And I refuse to believe that our generation should simply inherit the future. We should have the courage to shape it, we should have the responsibility to protect it, and Madam Deputy Speaker, we should have the determination to build a better Mauritius. Thank you very much.
MP Chongu.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, this opposition rises firmly against Clause 1. Let us be clear, this side of the House is not against artificial intelligence, innovation, or protecting Mauritian workers. We are against a method that only shows up after the damage is done. A safety net that only opens once someone has already fallen is not protection, Madam Deputy Speaker. It is a very expensive way of saying sorry. The motion itself tells us 33,300 people were unemployed in the first quarter of 2026, while employers reported vacancies they could not fill. That is a skills mismatch, Madam Deputy Speaker. And you do not fix a mismatch by waiting for a worker to fall, recording the fall, and only then offering a hand. Comme on dit, Madame la Vice-Présidente, le gouvernement arrive après l'incendie avec un rapport sur la fumée. Madam Deputy Speaker, by the time we identify an occupation, assess its exposure, design a program, and finally reskill someone, the technology has already moved twice. As Gen Z would say, Madam Deputy Speaker, we are just clocking unemployment and calling it progress. The International Labour Organization itself says generative AI is more likely to transform jobs than eliminate them. Et non, Madame la Vice-Présidente, on n'a pas besoin d'une boule de cristal, on a besoin d'un système qui bouge. We do not need to predict every job that disappears. We need workers who can adapt when job changes. This approach is built heavily around yesterday's problem rather than tomorrow's workforce. And I do not need to look outside this motion to prove how broken the logic of the government is. As the Minister of AI said, Clause 4 makes every AI user, public or private, big or small, run constant risk checks and security testing. A bank or a public utility can absorb that cost easily, Madam Deputy Speaker, but an SME often cannot. So compliance costs rise and some businesses respond by hiring less or automating even more just to cut costs elsewhere. That is a direct path to job losses.
Member, please pose.
Orders, member is imputing motive under Standing Orders 40, subsection 3.
Thank you. Member, please refrain from imputing motive. Please resume.
Compliance costs rise and some businesses respond by hiring less or automating even more just to cut costs elsewhere. That is a direct path to job losses. And what does the government do about those job losses? It simply writes them down. Autrement dit, Madame la Vice-Présidente, une clause crée la pression, l'autre vient compter les dégâts. Even elsewhere in this same motion, clause 2 and clause 3 show what proactive looks like. Training before disruption, support before displacement. That only makes clause 1's silence on prevention harder to defend. If this House already knows how to act early, why does the first clause still wait for the fall? Parce que, Madame la Vice-Présidente, il vaut mieux prévenir que guérir. We prepare people before the jobs disappear, not apologize after. We are not calling for less protection, Madam Deputy Speaker. We are calling for smarter protection, not less reskilling, earlier reskilling, not more paperwork, but faster action. And finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, after seeing a motion that waits for unemployment, records it and then reacts to it, one has to wonder whether the government itself has used AI to draft it. Because if the clause was AI generated, at least the AI understood the government perfectly.
Member, please pose.
Members imputing motive by implying that the government used AI for this resolution.
Member, again, please refrain from imputing motive.
The AI understood the government perfectly, predict the problem, document the problem, and skip the part that actually matters, prevention. And finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, this opposition urges this House to reject clause 1 in its present form unless it is properly aligned with preventing training. Merci beaucoup, Madame la Vice-Présidente.
Deputy Government Chief Whip.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I rise in support of this motion, particularly clause 6, which calls for a nationwide program for artificial intelligence and digital health innovation. First, Madam Deputy Speaker, AI must begin with digitalization. Mauritius is already on that path. Through the Digital Mauritius 2030 strategy and the UNDP-backed eHealth project, we are moving towards one patient, one record, replacing paper-based records with an integrated digital system. This year's health budget already provides for hospital digitalization, including eHealth, and for digital health networking. The public sector investment program also provides for eHealth software, hardware, digital health networks, and a laboratory information management system. Digitalization is being implemented across 27 operational sites, beginning with FLAC Regional Hospital, with 90% completion targeted by next year. Madam Deputy Speaker, earlier, a member of the opposition highlighted that the government has no concrete plan for artificial intelligence. But without digitalization, AI cannot work efficiently. Digitalization is the stepping stone to artificial intelligence. Secondly, Madam Deputy Speaker, AI can make healthcare faster and smarter. Take stroke detection. Around 4,000 people suffer stroke in Mauritius every year. In stroke care, every minute matters. AI-assisted tools can help identify critical signs faster
giving doctors more time to make decisions and begin treatment. Third, AI can help prevent health crises. Mauritius faces dengue, chikungunya, and leptospirosis. As recognized in Clause 6, AI can help different agencies analyze information, detect unusual patterns earlier, and respond faster. Madam Deputy Speaker, we do not need AI simply to say Mauritius is modern. We need it because it can help doctors decide faster, help patients receive better care, reduce waste, and help prevent health crises. Let us pass Clause 6 and build a healthcare system that is smarter, safer, fairer, and centered on the patient. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker.
MPC Tuhal.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I rise today as a member of the opposition to address Clause 6, the proposal for a nationwide program for artificial intelligence and digital health innovation in Mauritius. In fact, the opposition is not against AI in healthcare. Au contraire, si l'intelligence artificielle peut aider un médecin à détecter une maladie plus tôt, nous devons l'explorer. But innovation must not come before preparation. The official health statistic report 2024 record states that 4,928 hospital beds across the public and private sectors, while public health services recorded around 5.18 million outpatient cases. Our 2021 national NCD survey found that 19.9% of adults aged 20 to 74 had diabetes, while 27.2% had hypertension. These are not abstract numbers. They are Mauritian patients. Clause 6 promises AI healthcare projects, medical research, hospital-university partnership, national standards, and equal access for regional and rural facilities. These are good objectives, very good objectives, but where are the safeguards? Who is responsible when an AI system makes a wrong recommendation? Who verifies its accuracy? How is patient consent protected? And how do we guarantee equal AI-assisted care in regional and major hospitals? The government may say we are already digitizing healthcare, and I agree. I definitely agree. Mauritius already has a digital health office working on e-health implementation, connectivity, and digital health infrastructure. We also have AI-assisted ECG technology for cardiac screening. But these examples show potential. They do not prove that Mauritius is already to place AI at the center of our entire healthcare system. AI is only as reliable as the data behind it. Mauritius already has data protection rules, digital health initiatives, and a national AI strategy based on fairness, accountability, inclusiveness, integrity, and responsibility. But principles on paper are not enough. A simple mistake can have a negative impact on people's life. So as the opposition, we propose practical solutions. Firstly, AI systems should undergo independent testing and regular audits for accuracy, bias, and safety before nationwide deployment. Secondly, Mauritius must strengthen health data governance with clear rules for consent, access, storage, and research. Thirdly, begin with controlled pilot projects in areas such as the NCD screening, medical imaging, and diseases surveillance. Evaluate the ideas and then expand what works. Finally, regional and rural facilities must not be left behind, especially the primary healthcare. Their connectivity, equipment, and staff training should be assessed before AI is introduced. We must make technology work for Mauritius. AI should be the assistant to our doctors, not the replacement for their judgment. It should strengthen our healthcare system, not expose its weakness. And above all, derrière chaque donnée se trouve un patient. Derrière chaque algorithme se trouve une décision. Et derrière chaque décision se trouve une vie humaine. Alors oui à l'innovation, oui à l'intelligence artificielle, mais une intelligence artificielle responsable, équitable et adaptée aux réalités mauriciennes. Parce que notre objectif ne doit pas être d'avoir le système le plus technologique. Notre objectif doit être d'avoir un système de santé plus humain, plus sûr et plus efficace pour chaque Mauricienne. And that, Madam Deputy Speaker, is our standard. Not simply a smarter healthcare system, but a safer, fairer, and more human one. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Prime Minister.
Thank you. Madam Deputy Speaker, when Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein in 1818, she warned us of the danger when human creation outspaces ethical responsibility. Today, as AI emerges as a transformative technology, this government chooses responsibility over neglect. Clause 6 is our concrete framework to govern AI and deploy it strictly for public good. Consider the hard facts of our public healthcare system, as highlighted by MP Situhal. According to official data from the World Health Organization and the Ministry of Health and Wellness, non-communicable diseases, primary diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and cancers account for approximately 81% of all annual deaths in Mauritius. In our regional civil hospitals, medical personnel work under immense pressure to treat these chronic conditions. Globally, clinical studies published in the leading medical journals confirm that the validated AI diagnostic tools, such as deep learning algorithms for mammography and radiograph analysis, achieve accuracy rates up to 90%, detecting early-stage anomalies far faster than traditional manual reviews. Singapore has already proven this works at national scale. Its Selena Plus system, screening over 100,000 diabetic patients annually, has matched specialist-level accuracy. The government proposes this clause that patients flagged early are actively brought back into continuous care rather than simply logged and left to deteriorate until hospitalization becomes necessary. Beyond clinical diagnostics, Clause 6 directly targets the central bottleneck of our healthcare system: paper records and databases. Right now, decades of handwritten patient files lies in public hospitals, archived in room-sized document repositories, leading to lost medical histories, duplicated lab tests, and delayed emergency care. To solve this, we propose deploying optical character recognition coupled with natural language processing models similar to localized document AI tools, with the help of the Minister of IT, not Minister of AI. These algorithms automatically scan, interpret, and convert unstructured handwriting and archive paper forms into a centralized, searchable, electronic record system under a one-patient, one-record system. On the pharmaceutical side, where hospital pharmacies often track stock manually, AI predictive supply chain algorithms will analyze real-time prescription rates alongside seasonal disease trends. This automatically forecasts regional medicine consumption, flags low-level stocks weeks before shortages happen, and ensures critical drugs like insulin are redistributed smoothly across regional civil hospitals. To address MP Juhu's earlier valid queries, Mauritius actually has one of the highest doctor and nurses densities in the African region, with 31.7 doctors and 35.7 nurses and midwives per 10,000 population. To counter retirement and lengthy recruitment procedures that can indulge in shortages of doctors, as he has mentioned, AI-assisted telemedicine hubs can be implemented, linking rural centers to specialist hospitals so that there aren't empty posts. AI triage kiosks in community health centers can also free doctors for cases that actually need them. Regarding sanitation, AI-powered water quality monitoring can be used to detect contamination risk in real time, while AI, coupled with satellite technology, can identify blocked drains and sewage leaks. In that sense, these gaps in Clause 6 can be addressed. By enacting Clause 6, we translate these technological advancements into tangible public benefits. We establish strict national safety and privacy standards under the Data Protection Act, so patient confidentiality is built into every algorithm we use. We build operational bridges between our regional hospitals and universities, turning medical research into clinical tools tailored specifically to the Mauritian genetic profile. Most importantly, by making regional equality a founding design criterion, we guarantee that a patient visiting an area health center in Rivière-du-Rempart or Rodrigues gains access to the exact same diagnostic tools as someone in Port Louis, while removing the paper friction that drains our doctors' valuable time. Thank you.
MP Kaole Sosing.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, as this debate draws to a close, the fundamental divide in this August Assembly has become unmistakably clear. While the government bench has articulated coherent, well-evidenced blueprint for national transformation in artificial intelligence, the majority of the opposition has offered little beyond apprehension disguised as prudence. Throughout the whole of this debate, Madam Deputy Speaker, concerns were raised about whether Mauritius can truly afford this transition, whether our workforce is ready, and whether the risks outweigh the rewards. But let us speak plainly, Madam Deputy Speaker. While we acknowledge the criticisms put forward by members of the opposition, who I must admit some have provided very constructive criticisms, it is this government of the NYP 2026 who has dared to present this resolution before us today. Allow me, Madam Deputy Speaker, to ponder on the undeniable facts which back our resolution. To those on the other side of this chamber who argue that upskilling 50,000 citizens and implementing state-of-the-art technologies are an excessive fiscal commitment, I point them directly to the WEF Future of Jobs Report 2025, which demonstrates that every rupee spent on proactive workforce reskilling returns fourfold in national productivity, whereas failing to act forces governments to absorb vastly higher long-term expenditure in social welfare and economic stagnation. Furthermore, our plan to modernize public utilities with AI, stated in Clause 5, directly tackles a severe public sector drain, highlighted in the audit report to December 2025. Recovering 10% of our lost treated water through AI-powered leak detection reclaims millions of rupees in public funds. Some members of this opposition have claimed that Mauritius has no water, but that view is rather myopic, in my opinion. This motion is far more than a policy document, Madam Deputy Speaker. It is an imperative for generational survival. Clause 1 safeguards our workers before technological displacement occurs. Clause 3 provides our brightest young minds under 30 with the venture, funding, and mentorship needed to build world-class tech companies right here in Mauritius, which will potentially reduce the notorious brain drain in a country where 76% of 18 to 25-year-olds have thought of leaving it. Madam Deputy Speaker, true leadership means anticipating the future and equipping our people to master it. The government bench refuses to let the youth of Mauritius be passive spectators in a digital world. We choose ambition over apathy, progress over passivity, and national prosperity over political doubt. Ce gouvernement, Madame la Vice-présidente, a eu le courage et la vision nécessaires pour aider à transformer notre République sans délaisser la jeunesse mauricienne. C'est un gouvernement qui résout au lieu de papoter, un gouvernement qui a osé rêver. After all, Madam Deputy Speaker, the poorest man in the world is a man without a dream. I urge this chamber not to vote merely in favor of this motion, but in favor of a brighter future for our Republic. On this note, Madam Deputy Speaker, I commend the motion to the National Youth Parliament.
Members, time for this lively debate on motion 1 is over. The question is that the National Youth Parliament resolves that artificial intelligence be established as a strategic driver of the Mauritian economy, harnessing its economic, technological, and innovative potential, supported by a skilled national workforce capable of sustaining this transformation. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. 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 The ayes have it. Members, please rise. The Speaker will now resume the chair.
Members, Mr. Speaker.
Members, pray be seated.
We will now move to the second motion. MP Jamaluddin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'd like to move the motion standing in my name, which reads as follows. This National Youth Parliament resolves that Mauritius strengthens national food security by strategically reducing dependence on food imports, expanding sustainable and climate-resilient domestic agri-food production, and enabling meaningful participation of young Mauritians throughout the agri-food value chain. Thank you.
Is the motion seconded?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I second the motion.
Deputy Chairperson of Committees, your opening speech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mauritius is often called a paradise island, but let us not be deceived. A paradise that cannot feed itself is a paradise built on sand. I want you to think of a number, 25. 25% to be precise. This is our current food self-sufficiency ratio. It is not just a statistic. It is a warning. It is a sign that for every 4 bites of food we take, 3 are provided by the grace of a foreign ship. We are told we are a developing nation, and yet we spent approximately 75 billion rupees in 2024 alone just to put food on our tables. Food that we could have grown on our own soil. We are a nation surrounded by a vast ocean and blessed with fertile land. And yet we choose to be a nation that imports most of what it eats. That is not the failure of our soil, and that is not the failure of our climate. It is a failure of vision. It is a failure to recognize that food security is the very backbone of national stability. Mr. Speaker, sir, this motion is about changing that particular story. We see an aging farming population, and we see an 18% youth unemployment rate. And yet we, the youth, the very driving force of this nation, are told agriculture is too hard or too traditional. So I ask, have we really as a nation deemed survival as outdated? This motion calls for a national youth agri-entrepreneurship program. We want professions, we want approved training, and we want finance. All necessary to turn farming into a high-tech, viable profession. We call for a young farmer land access scheme, no more underutilized state land, and no more land management delays. Give the youth the soil, and they will give you a future. Give the women land enterprises, they contract, and they will give you security. Mr. Speaker, sir, our climate is not waiting for our cautious convenience. According to Statistics Mauritius, our rainfall dropped by 17% in just 1 year. Our soil is thirsty, and our traditional methods are being challenged by irregular cycles. This is why we demand a high-tech precision agriculture system. This leads to precision with our water, precision with our seas, and precision with our future. Some may say it is too ambitious, and some may say it is too risky. To them I say, an island does not prosper with half-hearted stewardship. We cannot continue to rely on a 25 by 35 initiative as a distant dream. We must treat it as a mandatory roadmap for our survival. Every day we choose the ease of an import over the effort of a local harvest is a day our heritage, our sovereignty suffers. Mr. Speaker, sir, this motion is a challenge and an invitation. It calls on us to rise above complacency. It calls on us to transform ambition into achievement. We, the youth, were born to inherit the stars, and yet all we ask is the dignity of a homegrown meal. We're not asking for miracles. We are demanding the courage to meet the potential of our land and our sea. I urge this House to act decisively. And with these words, Mr. Speaker, sir, I commit the motion to National Youth Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you. MP Asha Devi-Jutan.
Monsieur le Président, je vous remercie de m'avoir donné la parole. Compte tenu du taux de chômage des jeunes qui est couramment stationnaire et qui se tient à 18%, et du fait que le secteur agricole représente 4% du PIB de l'île Maurice, je me présente en faveur de cette motion, car celle-ci non seulement vise de manière pertinente et cohérente à réduire le chômage parmi les jeunes, mais vise aussi à créer des opportunités professionnelles au sein du secteur agricole. Cette motion présente notamment les clauses exécutoires 1, 2 et 3 comme plan d'action contre le désintéressement des jeunes à l'agriculture, une main-d'œuvre vieillissante, le manque de primes et de programmes d'employabilité dans le secteur agricole, ainsi que son implémentation à plus grande échelle dans le secteur de l'éducation et de la recherche. Une des stratégies proposées est notamment le Young Farmer Land Access Scheme, qui permettra aux jeunes d'avoir accès aux terres agricoles non utilisées, mais pas que. Ils auront aussi accès à des bénéfices et des subventions sur l'achat d'équipements tels que les serres et les structures maraîchères, par exemple. Ajouté à cela, ce programme vise à leur donner accès à plus de technologies agricoles telles que le precision farming, afin que l'accès à ces terres ne soit pas sans vain, compte tenu des fléaux agricoles dont nous faisons face couramment. Cette stratégie s'ajoute notamment à la Small Farmers Welfare Fund, qui, similairement, vise à fournir aux petits planteurs plus de subventions comme guise d'encouragement et de support. Comme stratégie qui s'aligne avec ceux de l'Organisation des Nations Unies pour l'alimentation et l'agriculture, qui se veut aussi inclure les jeunes dans l'agriculture, le gouvernement a tout récemment organisé le Youth Farming Project, qui s'est vu la participation de plus de 280 étudiants à travers le pays. En parlant des jeunes, Monsieur le Président, pour combattre le désintérêt, la conscientisation est clé. Les jeunes ont développé au fil des années une dépendance aux aliments ultra transformés ou remplis d'additifs. D'ailleurs, cela n'a pas été sans effet, car le taux d'obésité s'est vu monter en flèche. Ainsi, sensibiliser les jeunes sur les aliments qu'ils consomment est l'élément déclencheur d'un intérêt pour l'agriculture. De plus que les jeunes sont de plus en plus conscients de l'environnement et que le secteur agricole se voit devenir plus écologique. Cela sera aussi un atout pour attirer plus de jeunes vers un dit secteur, faisant ainsi d'une pierre deux coups, en réglant le taux de chômage juvénile, le manque de main-d'œuvre agricole, la sécurité alimentaire et la santé des jeunes qui se voient en déclin, faisant plutôt d'une pierre quatre coups. Monsieur le Président, depuis un moment déjà, l'implémentation de l'intelligence artificielle se fait suite, que ce soit dans nos écoles ou dans nos sphères professionnelles. Cette motion prouve que cette stratégie n'est pas en vain, ni pouffaisoli, comme on le dit. Car l'introduction de l'IA dans l'agriculture, qui est certes en premier lieu pour améliorer l'état du secteur et afin de mieux se préparer contre les variables souvent désastreuses, cela sera aussi une occasion de pousser plus de jeunes vers ce secteur, car rappelons-nous que différents secteurs s'entremêlent, souvent créant ainsi plus d'opportunités, surtout à notre cible, les jeunes, qui sont ceux qui ont une maîtrise plus rapide et compétente de l'IA. D'ailleurs, étant un membre du gouvernement, il est impératif de pouvoir accepter les critiques constructives. Les réformes autour de l'âge de retraite a fait énormément de polémiques. Toutefois, en implémentant ces programmes d'insertion professionnelle, cela fait de sorte que de telles mesures ne soient plus nécessaires, puisque cela aiderait à résoudre les problèmes liés à une population vieillissante, ainsi que l'exode de cerveau, tout en fortifiant la main-d'œuvre juvénile et propulsant ainsi l'économie mauricienne. Sur ces mots, Monsieur le Président, nous sommes tous présents ici dans un but commun, celui d'améliorer la qualité de vie des Mauriciens et de nos chers compatriotes de nos îles sœurs. Cette motion s'aligne avec ce but et c'est pour cela que je précise encore ma position comme étant pour les solutions proposées. Je me permets aussi d'encourager les membres de ce Parlement à en faire de même. Monsieur le Président, je vous remercie.
MP Bola.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, while we support the objective of this motion, particularly Clause 7, which is reducing Mauritius' dependency on imported fish for food security, we believe that the current resolution does not sufficiently address the issue. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to draw the attention of this House to the fact that according to Statistics Mauritius, total fish production decreased by 1.3% from 2024 to 2025, which was attributed due to a fall of 2.4% in fisheries catches, including tuna. Although this was partly offset by a 24.8% increase in fresh coastal fisheries production, we must ask ourselves whether this increase is sufficient to guarantee affordable and nutritious fish for the population. Mr. Speaker, sir, total coastal fish production are not necessarily affordable for everyone. We must take into consideration that a significant proportion of our workforce still depends on a relatively low income. For them, putting nutritious and affordable food on the table can already be a challenge. This is precisely why, Mr. Speaker, sir, We, the opposition side, believe that greater attention should be given to the increasing production of fisheries such as tuna, where it will improve availability of affordable canned tuna on our supermarket shelves. This will help households, particularly those with limited income. Mr. Speaker, sir, the second issue I wish to raise concern is a climate-resilient agri-food production. The government has identified climate resilience as an important part of its strategy, but we believe that the measures proposed require stronger implementation, particularly in the fisheries sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, I draw the attention of this House to Section 10 of the Fisheries and Marine Resource Act 2007, which provides for fish farmers to notify the Permanent Secretary within 24 hours in event of disease outbreak so that necessary actions can then be taken. But let's be real, Mr. Speaker, sir. Waiting until a disease outbreak to occur means that the problem has already become serious. As we say, après la mort, la tisane. What we need is not only a system that reacts to disease, but one that prevents and detects problems before they become a threat to our production. I therefore propose that this resolution be amended to incorporate an auditing system, including periodic inspection by qualified specialists to assess the health of fish stock and the condition of the production environment. Mr. Speaker, sir, my third and last concern is youth participation in the agri-food value chain. The government speaks about increasing youth participation, but where are the concrete measures to make this possible? Mr. Speaker, sir, when we talk about youth participation, we should not simply say that young people are not interested in agriculture or fisheries sector. We must create sufficient opportunities and incentives for them to participate, and we suggest vocational training programs. But Mr. Speaker, sir, let's be real. Providing training alone is not enough. We must also encourage young people to transform their skills into sustainable businesses and sources of income. That is why, Mr. Speaker, sir, we further propose the introduction of tax incentive on essential fishing equipment, particularly for young entrepreneurs entering the fisheries sector. To conclude with, Mr. Speaker, sir, food security is not simply about producing more food. It is about ensuring that people can access food that is sufficient, nutritious, and affordable. And I hope these proposals are taken seriously for the betterment of our food security and for the betterment of our population in the future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
MP Munkong.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I will be simple but truthful. It has come to my knowledge that the youth of Mauritius is not interested in joining the agricultural sector. Last year, statistics confirmed 18.4% among youngsters from 16 to 24 years old are unemployed. You would believe, Mr. Speaker, sir, that they would engage in the food production sector. Unfortunately, that is not the case. The most accessible business has now become a hassle. While financial and training are harsh barriers, the mindset is what discourages the youth. I am sure the House is not unfamiliar to the way fieldwork is described. Harsh, dirty, risky, even useless. I believe, Mr. Speaker, sir, that this is the root that we have to cut off. Firstly, by introducing agriculture at a young age. Encouraging children aged from 6 to 10 years old to gardens would ingrain a positive thinking on labor. By making the activity a vital subject during school hours with the corresponding professionals, educates our youth on the importance of agriculture and possibly encourage future production percentage. Secondly, by providing affordable long-term leases of suitable land for young entrepreneurs. Lesser financial problems would encourage more businesses. This objective would also calm down the youth and provide them a pillar to have the backbone of their future. The objective is not only about finance, it is about normalizing agricultural labor aid. Of course, Mr. Speaker, sir, no evolution is without obstacles. However, with the help of the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Industry, as well as the Ministry of Agro-Industry, the collaboration of students and staff alike in educational facilities and business concerned, these objectives will be achieved rather smoothly. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is furthermore about encouraging the youth to engage in the well-being of the nation, but also to provide the said nation a secure tomorrow when no children will have to go to bed with a rumbling stomach. This is a responsibility and a necessity. With those words, Mr. Speaker, sir, and MPs, I urge the House to support the motion of food security. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Minister of Housing and Lands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, as Franklin D. Roosevelt famously warned, the nation that destroys its soil destroys itself. But I would emphasize on what MP Jamaluddin said before this assembly today. A nation that neglects its soil, leaving it idle while importing its daily bread, surrenders its independence. I rise on behalf of the Ministry of Housing and Lands to lend our full support to this resolution, focusing directly on Operative Clause 2, the implementation of a Young Farmer Land Access Scheme. We can debate economic forecasts, seed technology, and international trade routes endlessly, but let us confront the fundamental truth, Mr. Speaker, sir. Without accessible land, not a single policy idea in this House can ever take root. The statistics before this assembly present a stark spatial and economic reality. Mauritius currently operates at an overall food self-sufficiency ratio of around 25%, sending nearly 24.4% of our total import bill, amounting roughly to 1.6 billion American dollars overseas every year. To import commodities we have the potential to grow. At the same time, I would emphasize on what MP Juten said, that we have with youth unemployment standing at 18.4%, we have an entire generation rich in digital talent and innovation, yet locked out of the primary asset required to build a productive future, land. The Ministry of Housing and Lands and this government does not view state land as passive real estate. We view it as a strategic catalyst to bridge this exact divide. Mr. Speaker, sir, to operationalize Clause 2, my ministry is committing to concrete spatial policy actions. First, we believe in completing a comprehensive nationwide audit of all underutilized state agricultural lands while launching a live, transparent digital state land portal. This will allow young Mauritians to view mapped plots directly, backed by guaranteed quotas reserved specifically for youth-led and women-led enterprises. In addition, Mr. Speaker, sir, to tackle heavy initial startup costs, we will establish agri-tech hubs by pre-equipping designated state land parcels with shared solar-powered irrigation and basic utility infrastructure, ensuring youth entrepreneurs do not drain their capital on basic setup. Last but not least, Mr. Speaker, sir, we must maximize spatial efficiency across our island. Also, as highlighted by the 36.7% surge in covered cultivation production, modern agri-tech hubs has proven that we can dramatically multiply crop yields without expanding our physical land footprint. To accelerate this shift, my ministry will introduce a performance-linked leases. We will provide long-term, low-cost tenure for smart greenhouses and vertical farming hubs, paired with clear domestic output targets to ensure state land actively feeds our nation. Mr. Speaker, sir, state land is not a speculative asset. It is a vital national resource meant to serve the public good. By placing underutilized state land directly in the hands of our youth and women entrepreneurs, we transform young young Mauritians from job seekers into primary food producers, protect our exchange reserves, and secure our national food sovereignty. I call upon all members of this House to support Operative Clause 2 and vote in favor of this motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir.
MP Degnarin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for kindly granting me the floor. Mr. Speaker, sir, the government's plan for national food security seems to rely on a very simple formula. Step 1, buy expensive drones. Step 2, launch AI software. And step 3, pray for rain. Monsieur le Président, il ne faut pas mettre la charrue avant les bœufs. When we talk about strengthening national food security, we must start with the people on the ground. Our local farmers, coastal communities, and young people are the ones feeding our nations and facing the realities of climate change. Yet, their everyday struggles are still missing from high-tech, top-down policies set by the government today. Today, I rise to speak on why practical accessibility, economic equity, and grounded solutions are not optional. They are essential. Let us look at Clause 6. While algorithms, satellite data, and drones sound impressive on paper, they risk leaving traditional farmers behind. Indeed, FARE has already launched its precision farming scheme, but how accessible is this scheme to the average smallholder? Many of our farmers are already struggling to afford basic necessities such as fertilizers. Deploying expensive digital platforms to monitor a dying crop isn't innovation, it's pure absurdity. We need simple tools and hands-on training, not digital burdens. Beyond that, technology must be grounded in resource security. Total precipitation dropped by 16.6% in 2025 alone, causing severe capacity drops in key areas like Marovakwa. If we cannot ensure basic irrigation during severe droughts, there is no algorithm in this world that will make crops magically grow. To build a real resilience, the government must abandon over-engineered tech schemes. Mauritius should explore joint regional agricultural leases in SADC countries, such as Madagascar, allowing us to grow staple crops at scale. But our food security strategy should not stop at land. We should also invest in offshore deep-sea aquaculture and make better use of our 2.3 million square kilometer EEZ. For real-time concerns, we already have the Citizen Support Unit. Whether it's water shortages or fertilizer delays, it is high time we formally integrate this platform into our agri-food governance. Monsieur le Président, rappelons-nous, l'inclusion, ce n'est pas un luxe. C'est une nécessité pour construire un avenir agricole, résilient et prospère. To conclude, our agricultural economy can grow, definitely, but only if it grows with the people. Let us create food security policies based on justice, equity, and meaningful engagement. With these remarks, I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I thank the House for its kind attention.
Minister of National Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, the words of this ambitious opposition sounds excellent on paper. However, food security is not achieved merely on paper. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mauritius imports roughly 3/4 of the food we eat. Nous pas qu'avons envie manger local sans apprendre produire local. We are quite usually dependent on the rest of the world to feed us. And yet, walk into most of our secondary schools and you'll find a curriculum that barely mentions where food comes from at all. That gap between a nation that needs farmers and a school system that produces almost none is exactly what Clause 3 of this motion sets out. Mr. Speaker, sir, today only 40 grant-aided schools offer agriculture as a subject, nearly 20% out of a national school system meant to prepare an entire generation for the future. Meanwhile, our farming population is aging, and youth unemployment among 16 to 24-year-olds stand at 18.4%, just like my friend stated earlier. Ask any teenager what they want to be, and you'll hear doctor, lawyer, influencer, never farmer, and yet everyone still expects breakfast. We are watching two problems grow side by side, empty fields and idle hands, just like this opposition. This motion calls on government to progressively expand agriculture as a mainstream secondary school subject, building a proper grade 7 to 9 curriculum and training qualified teachers to deliver it. Not just in mainland Mauritius, Mr. Speaker, sir, but in Rodrigues Island as well. This is not about turning every student into a farmer. It is about giving every young Mauritian the chance to understand agriculture.
Minister, please pause for a second. Yes, MP?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I believe on a point of order, when the MP is addressing, he should address to the chair and not point fingers to the opposition.
Thank you. Minister, please address to the chair.
Like I was saying, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is about giving every young Mauritian the chance to understand agriculture, to see it as a viable, respectable, even as an exciting profession. Sorry. Monsieur le Président, je suis bénévole dans ma communauté et j'ai appris une chose très importante. Les jeunes réussissent lorsqu'on leur donne de vraies compétences et de vraies responsabilités. L'agriculture à l'école permet précisément cela. Un élève qui apprend à analyser le sol, à gérer l'irrigation ou à comprendre les maladies des plantes dès la grade 7 peut 10 ans plus tard devenir un agriculteur capable d'utiliser des technologies modernes. Cette innovation n'aura de valeur que si nous formons une nouvelle génération prête à l'utiliser. Parce que, après tout, Monsieur le Président, parler de sécurité alimentaire sans parler d'agriculture à l'école, c'est un peu comme parler de football sans ballon. There's also quite a benefit here, Mr. Speaker. A generation that studies agriculture grows up understanding the true value of food, of what it costs, why it costs, and why food loss and waste matters. That understanding cannot be taught through a textbook alone, Mr. Speaker, sir. It has to be taught through soil, under fingernails, and seeds in the ground. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, sir, we cannot claim to be serious about food security while treating agricultural education as an afterthought offered in a fraction of our schools. If we want the 25 by 35 target to mean something, it must start in our classroom today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Minister of Agro-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy and Fisheries.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Sac vide, pas capable de boot, which translates to an empty bag cannot stand upright. Mr. Speaker, sir, we all know that we cannot lead a decent life, let alone live, if we're not fed properly. After all, food is a basic need, a human right which should be denied to no one. That is why, as a Minister of Agro-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy and Fisheries, I fully support this motion. While Mauritius may be food secure, considering its economic accessibility, safety, and fresh vegetable self-sufficiency, we're far from being food secure in terms of our massive dependence on food imports and vulnerability to climate change. Operative Course 4 outlines how to achieve the three requirements to become food secure. That is, having available food, having accessible food, and most important of all, making sure that the food provided is safe. Having a warm tropical climate, food spoilage is accelerated. Smaller and developing states lose 20 to 40% of all of their post-harvest produce. Therefore, to adjust to tropical heat and the lack of proper cold storage systems, we'll establish a solar-powered cold storage infrastructure, along with regional aggregation facilities. This will provide us with food available throughout the year. Plus, this food will be safe, since pathogen growth will be inhibited. This will also make our local food system more economically viable and climate resilient. Furthermore, food will be made more accessible through low-carbon transport links and corporation boards. This environmental friendly approach will enable produce from Rodrigues, which include lemons, chilies, onions, livestock, and other fishery products from outer islands to reach and be more accessible, affordable on the mainland, while ensuring that the stabilized, stable, basic foods will be kept affordable on Rodrigues, also in Agariga, making sure that it reaches there too. This will provide the Republic with additional complementary active production hubs. Thus, we will not further increase our foreign imports, and most importantly, be less affected by wars and conflicts. To conclude, this resolution does not outline unrealistic plans, rather well-suggested and analyzed projects, which are based on our requirements and uniqueness as a small island developing state, giving us hope to ensure food security in Mauritius. Fellow members, food security does not only identify itself as being the capacity to provide sufficient, nutritious, and balanced meals to anyone at any given point in time. It is also the most important starting block to any advancement, the bedrock to social peace and individual well-being. After all, we should not forget that we don't possess diamonds, petrol, or any such resources other than our nation, our most precious asset. So, the least we can do for every sacrifice made is a full belly makes a happy heart. Quand vent plein, le cœur content. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
MP Ramcharan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The opposition agrees with the objective of this House. Mauritius must strengthen food security. This is a matter of national security. But agreeing with an objective is not the same as accepting a resolution simply because it is well intended. My first and foremost and most serious concern is the target itself. This resolution notes that Mauritius has a food self-sufficiency ratio of approximately 25%. What it doesn't say clearly enough is that the government-owned 25 by 30 food security project aims to reach at least 25% self-sufficient by 2035. Mr. Speaker, sir, if independent reviewers of this year's budget are already pointed out that our current ratio sits at roughly the same level as the 2035 target, then this House is not being asked to endorse ambition. We are being asked to endorse standing still for another 9 years and calling it strategy. Mr. Speaker, sir, a nation doesn't feed its people on paragraphs. This resolution asks us to support a young farmer and land access scheme, a national logistic program, and an AI advisory system. All serious ideas, but where is the finances attached to each? How much state land will genuinely be released? And who verifies that it wasn't earmarked elsewhere? The word measurable appears throughout this resolution, but the baseline a reporting calendar and a consequence for failure do not appear anywhere. My firm concern is duplication. The government has already a 25 by 30 project. The budget 2025 and 2026 already allocated roughly.
Member, please pause for a second. Yes, Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I refer you to Standing Order 39, subsection 9. The honourable member is not engaging in a constructive debate. He's just reading his notes.
Members, it is my duty to have some type of compassion to every member. But member, please try and be ready for the debate and do not just read from the paper. Wait a minute. Yes.
Speaker, sir, the member is also misstating facts. He's saying 25 by 30.
Is that a point of order?
Yes.
Under
He's
which
saying
section?
25 by 30, while it is 25
It is a point
by
of
35.
explanation. It is not a point of order. Thank you. No, there's no need for applause. Thank you. MP, please continue and engage in the debate.
Yeah, sorry. So the budget 2025-26 has already allocated roughly 800 million toward the food reliance scheme, environment control, and AI tools for SMEs to produce more food items locally. So I planning ask, what does this solution add that the government has not yet committed on paper? Food security is not about producing more. It is also about, can people afford the food that we produce in Mauritius? A country cannot grow more vegetable and still leave families.
Please move to your conclusion.
And still leave families unable to buy them. 25% today, 25% tomorrow, 9 years from now. Mr. Speaker, sir, a tree is not judged by the amount of branches it promises to have, but how deep its roots are. This solution offers Mauritius many branches, but offers our farmers few
Please
roots.
go directly to your conclusion.
But offers our farmers few roots. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Minister of Commerce and Consumer Protection.
Mr. Speaker, sir, when we speak about food security, we ask how much food can Mauritius produce? But perhaps we should ask, what are we planting today to make sure that we can still produce food tomorrow? I rise in support of this motion, particularly the proposal for a national climate resilient seed and agricultural research program. Mauritius has increased food crop production by 11.6%, reaching approximately 189,372 tons in 2025. Yet food self-sufficiency remains around 25%. While agricultural imports reach about $1.6 billion in 2024, our farmers also face droughts, floods, cyclones, pests, diseases, and water scarcity. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, if the environment in which we farm is changing, shouldn't the crops we farm change with it? That is why climate resilient seeds matter. They are an investment in crops able to withstand drought, heat, irregular rainfall, pests, or disease while maintaining productive yields. We are not starting from zero. FARI and our agricultural services already carry out research and support farmers. The question is, how do we strengthen that work and make sure it reaches the farmer? Firstly, research must be targeted towards Mauritian conditions. We need varieties suited to our climate, including resistance to drought, pests, and diseases. Where appropriate, we should use biotechnology and modern genetic techniques, but always with robust biosafety standards, because innovation without responsibility is not progress. Secondly, research must leave the laboratory. What is the point of developing a remarkable variety if a farmer cannot obtain the seed? We need a clear chain. Research to testing, testing to multiplication, multiplication to quality assurance to distribution, and finally to farmer adoption. The research laboratory must be connected to the field. And, Monsieur le Président, une recherche qui n'arrive jamais jusqu'à l'agriculteur reste une recherche inachevée. Thirdly, we must make the economics work. As Minister of Commerce and Consumer Awareness, I believe this clause connects directly with my portfolio. Food security is not only about whether food exists, it is also about whether it remains accessible and affordable to the Mauritian consumer. If a farmer loses a crop, we face reduced supply and greater dependence on imports. That exposes us to international prices and global disruptions. So climate resilient seeds can contribute to economic resilience. But let me be clear, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'm not suggesting that climate resilient seeds will magically make food cheaper. What they can do is reduce risk that contribute to unstable production. If farmers maintain more stable yields and domestic production is strengthened, we reduce pressure from shortages and excessive dependence on imported inputs. And that is something we can measure.
Minister, please conclude.
Monsieur le Président, une agriculture résiliente commence par une vision résiliente. For these reasons, Mr. Speaker, sir, I urge this House to support the motion and a national climate resiliency and agricultural research program that turns research into innovation, innovation into production, and production into food security for Mauritius. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Minister of Youth and Sports.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I move for the adjournment of the debate. Thank you.
The question is that the debate be now adjourned. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the National Youth Parliament do now adjourn to Saturday, 29th August 2026 at 9:30 hours.
Is the motion seconded?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I second the motion.
Members, the question is that the National Youth Parliament be adjourned to Saturday, 29th August 2026 at 9:30 a.m. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The National Youth Parliament stands adjourned. We'll now have the adjournment matters. Any members wishing to raise an adjournment matter point, please reach forward. Yes, MP.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to draw the attention of the Minister of Housing and Lands on the matter concerning public access to Mauritius coastline in Point Disney. Recent observations have revealed instances where gates, vegetation, and other structures have restricted or created the impression public access to certain areas of the domain. The matter I wish to raise with the Minister concerns the concrete measures being taken to remove such unauthorized obstructions, strengthen monitoring, and ensure that public beaches remain genuinely accessible to all Mauritians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank the member for raising this matter. Let me state clearly, our coastline belongs to all Mauritians. No private leaseholder or developer has a legal right to block public access to our beaches, and I assure that our public beaches will remain unhindered and fully accessible to every citizen. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, member.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to raise a point of adjournment concerning the persistent traffic and infrastructure problems in Bakwa Phoenix. Minister of National Infrastructure, I wish to bring to your attention the situation in areas such as Clairfont and La Route du Club, where congestion during peak hours is becoming a daily concern. The situation is further aggravated by vehicles parked along busy streets and by sections requiring maintenance, causing delays and inconvenience to motorists, pedestrians, and public transport users au quotidien. I therefore urge you to give particular attention to these areas and consider measures to improve traffic flow, parking management, and the overall condition of the infrastructure. Il est temps d'agir pour que circuler à Bakwa Phoenix ne devienne pas un parcours du combattant. Merci.
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, MP. I will consult with my ministry and revert back to you. Thank you.
Yes, MP.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I wish to draw the attention of the Minister of Energy and Public Utilities to a matter of public importance concerning poor and inadequate street lighting in certain areas, particularly in Rivière Dragon, where commuters, students, and members of the public are required to wait for buses or walk after dark. The lack of adequate lighting raises serious concerns about road safety and the personal safety of people using these areas at night. Poor visibility also places pedestrians, motorists at greater risk. May I therefore respectfully request the Minister to look into this matter with urgency.
Yes, Minister.
Thank
you for this question. I will consult my ministry and revert back to you, and I will try to solve the problem. Thank you.
Thank you.